So I just 100%ed Dying Light the Beast, about 50 hours, give or take a few. Well, not quite 100%. I got 30 out of 33 achievements. There's 3 more achievements I need. Can't get them yet. We need to wait till New Game Plus. That should be out soon though. Hopefully sometime in December or early January, this New Game Plus comes out. But anyways, my overall kind of thoughts on the game so far was surprisingly fun. Surprisingly fun for what I thought I was getting myself into. The movement is a big reason why this is so much fun, and also the map design just coupled with that awesome parkour movement. I mean, and the grappling hook. Oh, listen, we're gonna get all the good stuff in just a second, but the game is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. The combat, however, it does have some janky edges. There's some pieces of the combat just fall flat, but it never really ruins the experience just because the weapons and just how much fun and ragdolly the enemies are and everything. So primarily the bosses, the chimeras, they're extremely distinct in their appearance and very interesting and very fun set pieces for all the boss battles. So it's a lot of fun. We'll get into all that in a little bit. But why do I think this is the zombie game of the year? Well, there really wasn't much competition. I mean, there was a little bit of competition. You had Killing Floor 3 that came out, but people aren't really liking that. Apparently has a lot of optimization and performance issues. But outside of that, like when it comes to big zombie games for 2025, there really wasn't a lot of them. I'm sure there was some niche indie zombie games that I just, that flew over my radar. Please let me know in the comments what other zombie games I should go and jump into that came out this year. But yeah, zombie game of the year, Dying Light the Beast. It sold, last I checked, 1.5 million copies. Now you have to remember that people who own Dying Light 2, the Ultimate Edition, also got Dying Light the Beast for free because Dying Light the Beast was originally going to be a DLC for Dying Light 2. However, they scrapped that and went with creating a new game, Dying Light the Beast. But people who did own Dying Light 2, the Ultimate Edition, got the game for free. So maybe you don't know that. Maybe you own Dying Light 2 Ultimate Edition already. You should have this game for free. So go check it out. The Steam reviews are also really good, 90% positive Steam reviews, so that's awesome. In short, Dying Light the Beast has a really amazing parkour, a solid story, engaging combat, and it's one of the more satisfying games that I played this year. It took, again, about 50 hours. Sometimes I left the game running because I got the kiddos and I got to take them to bed, or if they get out of bed, I gotta go and help them with that and stuff. So yes, I left the game on and running a lot. So it's probably, you could probably 100% this more like 35, 40 hours. But yeah, I left the game on sometimes. That's why 50 hours is up there. Going for the 100% as it does in most games, definitely stretched the game out a lot. The repetition becomes obvious near the end of the game. The manual pages in particular for the blueprint upgrades, they're just kind of a boring grind with the dark zones. A lot of the dark zones are kind of just samey and boring. And then obviously going for the collectibles, same deal. As usual in any open world game that you play, if you're going for all the collectibles, it's going to be repetitive and it's going to be a little bit boring, unless that is just like your thing, I guess. But it's not my thing. But I did it, okay? The early and mid game exploration is great, but again, just that last 10 hours turned into a lot of backtracking. But again, this is coming from someone who 100%ed it, who went back and got all the collectibles. If you're just playing through the game as you normally would, where you're playing through the story, you do a few side quests here and there, you upgrade a couple weapons here and there. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You'll never once, at least I never once, wished that there was fast travel in the game. The game does not need fast travel. In fact, it would do itself a disservice if it added fast travel, because the parkour and traversing and the vehicle traversing is just so much fun. It's so much fun that when you get that objective that's like all the way across the map, you're never like, man, I wish I could just teleport over there, because just traversing the map is so much fun. So no, I don't think fast travel needs to be in the game. I'm glad it wasn't in the game, but I was kind of wishing it was during the last 10 hours, going for collectibles and going for those manual pages and all of that. But outside of that, if you're just playing the game normally, like you normally would in any game, it's a lot of fun. You don't need it. Parkour is great. Some of the more notable achievements that were actually fun to go for was the beast modes, where you need to get 666 kills. This is the Hexia achievement. That's definitely how you say it, which I believe is the term for 666. I don't know. I've heard of this term. You slap phobia on the end of it, and you're scared of the number 666, which I didn't know that there was people that were scared of the number 666, but I guess it makes sense, huh? The vehicle kills, also a fun achievement. You're going to get this probably just normally playing through the game, because it is unavoidable, because every time you're in a car, you're going to want to run over the zombies. Like, who doesn't want to just run over the zombies? If you're in a car and you're trying to avoid the zombies, well, what are you doing? You definitely want to be running them over. So you'll probably get this achievement just by playing the game casually. It's a lot of fun. Also, the flamethrower kills. The flamethrower kicks ass in this game. It's super cool. And going for that achievement was a lot of fun. I mean, essentially what I did for that achievement was I just crafted the flamethrower and went to the asylum because there's a lot of zombies outside of the asylum. So I just, you know, caught them on fire all over there for that firefighter achievement. Obviously progressing the story and getting all the story achievements, specifically the chimera fights and all the bosses, that was a lot of fun. The For Your Mind Only quest was a very interesting and unique quest. You're essentially investigating a telepathic disruption and uncovering a dark story about a character named Rick. And that's all that I will say, but it's a lot of fun. And then there's racing side quests. Yeah, there's a side quest where you basically have to complete 4 timed races and go for gold in all of them. A lot of fun. It had no right being as good as it was, but it was. The racing was a lot of fun, and mostly because the vehicles are just fucking awesome. So let's talk more about the parkour and traversal, just because it was so much fun, guys. I really enjoyed this. For context, I never played Dying Light 1 and I never played Dying Light 2. But from what I'm seeing from the community, that Dying Light the Beast is the best movement in the series. The skill upgrades, however, felt weak, kind of lackluster. There's nothing in the skill tree outside of the Beast skill tree. I'm talking about the white skill trees here on screen. Nothing in those categories I was like, oh man, I need to put all my skill points into this tree and try to get to this perk. There was nothing that was just too exciting. It was all kind of just like I think the game could have been a lot better in the beginning if you kind of just had some of that stuff unlocked, like the drop kick. Like if that was just unlocked from the beginning. I get it though, they want to lock it away so you learn it as you go, so you're not overwhelmed and stuff. So I understand why they broke it down into this tree. I think I would have just much rathered maybe something like where you do a story mission and it forces you to do a drop kick to kill an enemy, and then that's when your character learns it, and then you can just go from there. You know, just kind of little tutorials and story missions I think would have been better. I didn't really care too much for the skill tree and leveling up and all that stuff. But like I said, never played the first 2 games. Maybe that's a staple in the franchise and everything, so I was cool with it being there. But yeah, just kind of my initial thoughts there on it. For traversal tools in this game, you got grappling hook, and then a grappling hook, and then also the grappling hook. That's about all you need to know. You're basically Spider-Man. It's awesome. The movement as a whole, with that grappling hook especially, it's just constantly fun. The best biome to parkour in my opinion, is Castor Woods with that grappling hook, just because you're going from tree to tree to tree to tree, and just it feels amazing. I know a lot of people like the Old Town too. The Old Town's a lot of fun too. Honestly, the level design for the Old Town is incredibly impressive, because you're just like jumping rooftop to rooftop off of, you know, lamp posts and then swinging off of the corner of a building. It's all just perfectly meshed together to make for a really fun parkour and movement experience. So hats off to them. I mean, I just think about developing a place like Old Town and trying to design that level, and it gives me a headache. So I don't even know how they did it, but it's awesome. It's fantastic. Moving on to more of the combat and my thoughts on the combat. Melee is the clear star in my opinion. Like, it's very satisfying. The axes will just completely decapitate the zombies. The warhammers will just cleave every zombie in your path and just do some big impact. And also the ragdoll physics is awesome. There will be times when a zombie jumps on your car, and if you're going fast enough, you can just slam on the brakes and they'll just fly out the windshield. It's a real simple like thing to put in a game, but man, it's just so cool that there's a zombie banging on your windshield and you can just slam on the brakes and he just flies off. It's one of the rare games where I'm driving a vehicle in first person. I never drive vehicles in first person in video games. I always drive in third person. But driving in first person in Dying Light the Beast was just so much fun, just seeing the impact on the zombies. I don't know, there was something about it. I can't put my finger on it, but it was just a lot of fun. I was never really interested in the firearms. The melee was just simply more enjoyable. The firearms are good, don't get me wrong, especially like the crossbow and the bow on zombies, and then also using any firearm to kill like the Barons, guards, or any of the ranged combatants that you're going up against. The firearm was always superior to the melee weapon, but melee was just so much fun. I didn't really care if I was getting shot at from far away. I would just run over to him and hit him with a hammer. Like, it was just so much more fun. The only gripe that I really have with the combat is it's not the bosses, because the bosses in appearance, it is the bosses, but the bosses in appearance are distinct, unique, and they look cool. It's their mechanics. They're kind of just mechanically simple. Like, they're very well, you can choreograph every move that they're about to do, which is fine, by the way. I don't think every game needs to be like, oh man, I only have one frame to notice that something's about to happen to be able to react. Like, that's not what I'm saying here. What I am saying is that it seemed like a lot of the bosses shared the same movesets, even though they look different and everything, which is fine. because I think you can have that as long as my arsenal for how I approach the fight is unique and different. And it is, because there are so many weapons in this game. You have grenades, you have mines, you have bows, you have throwing daggers, you have your swords, your other melee weapons. You have a bunch of fun weapons in this game. So although the bosses are a little repetitive when it comes to the actual combat and the actual mechanics they're doing, it never really feels like that, because each time you get to a new boss, you probably found a new weapon, or you got that new throwing dagger or the new grenades or whatever. And so it always makes each fight different because your arsenal is more. And I think games can go one or two ways, right? They can either have the main character doesn't have a lot of stuff, but every boss you're going up against is unique and different, so that makes it fun. Or you go with what Dying Light the Beast did, which is, yeah, the enemies aren't entirely different. They share a lot of the same mechanics, but Kyle Crane, the main protagonist in the game, has a massive arsenal of weapons at his disposal, making each of those different boss fights distinct in their own right. So yeah, the bosses, they're not necessarily bad. They definitely could have been pushed further, but I think with the wide arsenal that Kyle Crane had in terms of weapons, it kind of makes up for them being a little bit repetitive. Probably the best encounter, and probably also the hardest fight, is the final boss. I'm not going to go into spoilers or anything, but it was very reminiscent. Like all the chimeras, all the bosses were kind of reminiscent of the Tyrant, with the final boss in particular being very reminiscent of Wesker from Resident Evil. And I just got done playing the original Resident Evil and did a video on, if it was scary or not. You should go watch that if you're interested, by the way. It was a lot of fun. The very last fight really, I got that nostalgia hit when I saw what was happening and where it was happening and everything. It was very reminiscent of the original Resident Evil. So I ate that up. Moving on to some of the story and the characters. The story's good. It's nothing exceptional. It's predictable, but very fun. Kyle Crane, the main character, basically goes and hunts all these chimeras because he's basically killing these chimeras so he can get their blood to become stronger. That's how you invest in the beast tree, to get the beast mode stuff. He's doing that because he wants to be stronger so that he can go and get his revenge on the person who's been experimenting on him for so many years. Kyle Crane is an angry dude who just wants to get revenge. That's basically the story, and that's all you really need for a brutally fun zombie story. So not every game needs to be deep. I can appreciate the straightforward revenge tale. Some of the strengths with the story when it comes to characters: Lydia, great voice acting. Amanda Drew, I believe, is the voice actress for Lydia's role. I'm not going to get into Lydia's role in the story because it's a major spoiler, and it was awesome when I finally got to experience what Lydia can do. But that's all I'm going to say about Lydia, okay? And then you got the Baron, which is, again, major Wesker vibes from this guy. The only bad thing I can say about this guy is I wish I could see him more. That's about it. For weaknesses, Olivia feels a bit underdeveloped, and her role with Kyle Crane feels a little underdeveloped. She's very present at the beginning and the end, but nothing really in between outside of her getting on the radio and being like, "Hey, Kyle, I found another chimera over here. Go kill him." She doesn't sound like that. Don't know why I voiced her like that, but I did. Anyways, they could have done a lot more with her and Crane's relationship and that love story that's manifesting there, but they didn't. Maybe they didn't have time for it. I don't know, but I just felt she was a little underdeveloped. But moving on to my least favorite character, and this is to no surprise for anyone who's played the game, and that's the Sheriff. For reasons I will not get into because of spoilers, but if you play through the game, you'll know exactly why I don't like her. And then moving to the ending, it was good. It had some predictable twists, but the Baron was a very strong villain, and it was a satisfying ending, and it wasn't too long. And not every game needs to be too long. I feel like I used to be like, man, if I'm gonna put this much money into a game, I want to get X amount of hours out of it. Now I'm just kind of not really like that anymore. I mean, if it's like 12 to 50 hours, I really don't care. I'll buy the game, especially in a time like 2025. When there's just so many good games came out. Like, what a year for 2025 in gaming. So many good games came out this year. It's impossible for me to play all of them, especially if they're like 120-hour games. So I was happy and relieved to see that Dying Light the Beast was not as long of a game. I know a lot of people are mad and upset because they're like, oh, it feels like a DLC. Oh, that makes sense because it was gonna be a DLC. I just completely disagree with that. I think it's a lot more than a DLC. I know people are mad because it's short, I guess, but just go for the 100%. That'll get you some more hours, get you up to like 50 hours like me, and that's enough time for me to put into a game. That I got my money's worth out of this game. And so I had a good time with it. Moving on to some of the open world and activities. Map size. Map size was perfect, I thought. It was not too big and it was not too small. And it doesn't need to be, like I said, in a world like 2025, you know, it was like the perfect, you know, mix of map size. Honestly, the distance from POI to POI felt great too. Like there was never a time where I was like, man, I gotta go all the way back here. And that's largely probably because the vehicle traversal and the parkour elements and the grappling hook just made all that so much more fun. Techland also filled the world really, really well. They had unique side quests. They didn't overdo it with side quests, which a lot of games do. A lot of games throw in a bunch of side quests, and a lot of times it's just the same side quest. You're just doing it for like a different side character. But this game had actually some unique side quests. They weren't overdone. There's also some fun Easter eggs in the game. They had a Harry Potter Easter egg, a Minecraft Easter egg, obviously the reference to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with the asylum and everything. So those are the few Easter eggs, the notable ones, I'll say. If there's any major ones that I haven't mentioned here, definitely leave them in the comments below. I'm interested on the other Easter eggs in the game that maybe I have not found. Now, that's not to say that there wasn't some repetitive tasks, because there definitely was. Gathering resources, doing the safe zones and the transformer stations, those were all repetitive as well. But, like I've been harping on the whole entire video, the movement and the combat with all the different weapons make the repetition extremely enjoyable. I did not mind going around and doing these safe zones and transformer stations, and a lot of the times, even though it was essentially the same task, like I'm going to do this safe zone and power this one on, I'm going to go to this transformer station, power this one on, even though the premise of each safe zone and transformer station is the same, the puzzle that you have to figure out with all of them, it's not like major puzzles, these are small puzzles, but they are all largely different. There's a lot of unique stuff with them that you have to figure out kind of on your own. So I really enjoyed these, albeit, you know, to some people I could see how they're extremely repetitive, but to me, I really enjoyed going through them. And kind of what helped me enjoy all of that, not only the movement and the parkour elements, but the game just looked great. The game looks awesome. This is the CEngine. It's a very well optimized engine. I had like no performance issues with this game. There was no frame rate drops. The only thing that happened in my 50 hours of playing was I had 2 crashes. I'm not sure what really caused the crashes. They kind of just happened randomly. But that was the only things that I experienced my whole playthrough. I know I'm a bit late to playing this game. Right? I know when it first came out, there was like a rain bug where it was constantly raining indoors. And there was like another bug where the daytime and nighttime sequences were different, and sometimes it'd be daytime and there would be volatiles, which are the creepiest enemies in the game, but they are only supposed to come out at night or out in the daytime. So I know that, I think they probably fixed that, because I didn't experience any of that in this game. Very well optimized, nothing too crazy in terms of performance hits. Moving on to some of the atmosphere, the indoors were always pretty tense and sometimes scary, especially if you're inside like a cave or some dark area that has volatiles, which these are the enemy types that only come out at nighttime, but obviously if you're in a cave yourself, they're going to be out and about, and you literally can't fight these guys. They will destroy you. If they see you, you'll enter a chase thing where you have to basically run away from them, which is super fun in a game like this. Like, it's one of the only times that I felt scared and where the game was very tense, which it definitely needed to have these tense moments in a game that it didn't have a lot of tense moments. But nighttime, do not mess around with nighttime. The outdoors was always really action focused, especially with all the vehicles and the enemy density, which is super impressive in this game, by the way. There is enemies like everywhere. There's so many zombies in this game, and it should feel like this is a zombies game. That's why it just feels awesome. The asylum also being extremely atmospheric and scary zone to traverse inside. That's a super memorable point of the story, is when you get to that asylum. It was super cool. And yeah, just going on with the nighttime a little bit more. The nighttime is, again, terrifying. Like, I probably never really played through it. If it's nighttime or it's about to be nighttime, I'm running to the nearest safe zone and I'm sleeping till the morning. Because you pretty much can't do anything at nighttime. Those volatiles are going to see you and they're going to chase you and they're going to kill you. So it makes nighttime runs really tense. And just to kind of harp on the progression and the systems tied into the progression a little bit more, the leveling to me felt pretty slow. Many of the skills, again, they just feel like filler. There's no meaningful choices when it comes to these skills. Often I would just forget that I had a skill point available, and even unlocking, like, I don't even know half the skills I unlocked because they just weren't like impactful. I felt like they just weren't that good, in my opinion. But the loot system works fine, except for those manual pages when you're grinding them towards the end for the 100% and you're trying to upgrade all your blueprints. The manual pages was a pretty boring grind. But The crafting in this game was a lot of fun. This is what you would use these manual pages for, by the way. You would unlock a blueprint when you found a weapon, and then you would use these. They had 3 tiers of manual pages. You would use the first one to upgrade it, then you'd use like the tier 2, the rare, to upgrade that, and then you use the legendary one to upgrade it to its full form. So doing the upgrades and the crafting and everything was actually a lot of fun because you have an abundant amount of resources outside the manual pages. Of course, you do have to kind of grind these towards the end if you weren't going through and collecting them as you went, which I wasn't doing, and maybe I should have been doing, but I didn't. But yeah, the crafting was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. So yeah, Dying Light the Beast, when it comes to the strengths, obviously the movement and the parkour and the grappling hook were awesome. The beast form, feeling powerful, which is that red meter at the bottom. Essentially, that meter goes up when you do damage or when you take damage, and then when it goes up all the way, you can basically go into your beast form. It's essentially an ultimate where you can do beast things, where if you have the grappling hook, you can basically pull yourself large distances with the grappling hook. You can jump super high, slam on the ground, grab objects, throw them at a pack of enemies, and also do like a whirlwind fist ability towards the end of that tree, which was super cool. Like when I'm talking bad things about the skill tree, I'm not talking about the beast skill tree, okay? The beast skill tree is good. I enjoyed the beast skill tree. It was the other ones. The atmosphere was also a key strength. The vehicles, obviously, they were so much fun. Like I said earlier, the only game that I could actually drive a vehicle in first person, and it felt amazing. One of the only games I was able to do that in. Also, enemy density was super awesome, especially if you're grinding that Hexagobbledygook achievement. If you go north side, industrial zone, there's a junkyard that has so many zombies in it. Just go there, have your beast form, pounce down on them, and then you're gonna have that achievement done like in no time. And then the crafting system was super awesome. It wasn't one of those things. The game was self-aware and knew that it didn't need to be grindy, and you weren't going to have to go grind a bunch of resources so that you can craft up all these items. The only thing you really have to grind for are those manual pages. But that's only if you're doing the achievement. If you're just wanting to upgrade a certain weapon that you're using, you're going to have you're going to have a heap of these manual pages at your disposal. And then moving on to some of the weaknesses, obviously the slow leveling. I don't know, maybe this is more anecdotal and not an overall sentiment with the game, but I felt like it could have been faster. You guys let me know in the comments if I'm wrong here. But yeah, I just felt that the leveling was a little slow. I would have liked to probably have everything for the character about halfway through the story, but I didn't. And I was doing all the side quests and all the activities as they came up too. Like I was getting as much XP as possible while I was going through the story and everything. But yeah, it just felt a little bit slow. I don't know. You guys let me know. Also, what I've been kind of harping on the whole time here, the low impact skills. Again, just those skills outside of the beast skills, they just didn't feel that great. And then the other one, it's not really a major weakness. I just think that they really could have done a lot more with this character, and that's Olivia. I think Olivia could have been a much stronger character, and that her relationship with Kyle could have been developed and much stronger. But that's about it. I mean, what she did at the beginning, what she did at the end, both great things. It was just more the middle. There's just not much going on outside of, hey Kyle, found another chimera, let's go kill it. Outside of that, there was really nothing else. I will add, what you learn about Olivia and someone in her life in particular does add a little bit to the story, obviously, especially for those of you who are Dying Light fans and have played the previous titles and everything. But outside of that, that happens at the end when you figure that out. Outside of that, just she's fine. She's here. I felt like they could have done more with her. That's all. So yeah, Dying Light the Beast, zombie game of the year for me at least. Good narrative. It was fun. Strong traversal with the vehicles and the grapple hook and just the parkour elements in general. And then it was like one of the only zombie games I've ever played that actually captured that open world zombie fantasy better than anything else that I've played. Not only this year, but just kind of in previous years when it comes to zombie games. Like this was a fantastic zombie game. If you are someone who loves action games and parkour and zombies, I mean, definitely get this game. Don't sleep on this game. This game's a lot of fun. For what's coming in the future of Dying Light the Beast, so they released like an 11 or so week roadmap. New Game Plus is confirmed, as well as Nightmare difficulty, which I'm really interested in. Honestly, hopefully Nightmare difficulty will make some of the boss fights a little more challenging and a little different and everything. So I'm really looking forward to that. And also I'll be able to get those last 3 damn achievements, because I'm sitting at 30 out of 33 and it's bothering me. I want to get them. So hopefully that comes late December, early January. I would imagine it's probably going to come after this roadmap. Maybe it comes before. I don't know. I don't know. You guys let me know. Maybe they've said something. I just haven't found the piece of information that announces when this New Game Plus is coming, but that's my guess if they haven't said anything yet. All that said, though, this was a very fun game. Is it worth 100%? Should you go for it? I think so. It's not a difficult 100% to get, unless you're bothered by not being able to obtain the 3 achievements now. But one of the achievements is playing through the game on New Game Plus anyways, so you could just go for all the achievements now if you wanted. You're gonna have to replay the game anyways when New Game Plus comes out. So you could just play it now. That's what I did. There's no achievement for difficulty, so just play whatever you have fun playing, whether that's on beginner or the survival difficulty or the harder one, or Nightmare when Nightmare comes out. So yeah, Dying Light the Beast, definitely a very polished and very fun experience. I didn't even go into this. The adaptive soundtrack when you're parkouring or entering combat or getting in a vehicle, it really enhances the movement and the combat and the driving. Like, the adaptive soundtrack is awesome. It's super cool. All the music in this game was great. There wasn't one track where I was like, this track sucks. It was all awesome. I enjoyed it very much. If you enjoy the fast and the fluid movement and the lively open world, I think it's definitely worth your time. If you played it, let me know in the comments what your favorite experience of the game was. Was it the parkour? Was it the combat? Different chimeras? What did you enjoy the most about the game? And again, take excellent care of yourself, call someone you love, and goodbye.